Hello there and welcome to QTV's This Morning program. I am your host, Jenna Bosonko, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ibrahim Abalde. How was your weekend?
Well, Jenna, it's good to be here.
Yeah.
It was a great weekend. I spent my weekend at Sintet,
Okay.
you know. It was a good time.
Okay.
They invited me for a program. You know, I'm a cultured, conscious guy.
Look at that.
So they believe that, and I was
but with the Weltare, obviously, you're doing so
absolutely.
well with that,
and I was surprised that I went to Sintet, and most people love the Weltare show. So it was great.
Okay.
I mean, I spent the whole weekend in
Weekend
Sintet.
at Sintet.
Yes.
No.
I mean, affaire jabar bi nañ ko post.
Nañ ko bàyyi.
Waaw bobu mom.
Waaw.
Nañ ko def under the carpet.
Under the carpet. But I'm happy that you had a good one. I'm so happy about that.
Yeah.
So viewers, welcome back. If you're just tuning on this program for the first time, this is QTV's This Morning program coming your way from Monday to Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11:30. So on this particular program, we have a lot of segments. Like I always say, this is the program meant to make sure that your mornings are memorable and exciting.
Your mornings will never be boring again.
Your mornings will never be the same again.
We are trying to develop things.
Yes.
I mean, to make it very interesting.
Exactly.
So we will be introducing new segments on this program today.
We'll also take this opportunity to let our viewers know that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is in town, the AstraZeneca as well. I think they will communicate as it comes, and the Sinopharm is also here. Just to tell you guys that it is important to go and get vaccinated. That is the only way that we'll be able to fight against COVID-19. So make sure to go get vaccinated. Starting from today, there's mass vaccination across all health facilities in the country. So make sure to go to the health facility nearby to get vaccinated. It is very important, and that's the only way we'll be able to fight this deadly pandemic.
Yeah, you know, but people should now change the idea.
The vaccine hesitancy.
Yes, the way they are seeing the vaccine. I mean, it's good for you. I mean, it will do no harm.
Exactly.
So it's important for you to take it, and I'm also ready to go and take mine.
Please take yours. Take a picture, share it on social media.
Definitely.
It's important. Like I always say, WHO is the main body, and when they say take it, it's about research ongoing. Things might change. So we also have to follow the trend to make sure that globally you will be able to fight this pandemic. So like I said before, go to your nearest health facility and get vaccinated. And it is a good thing that it is open. So let's go for a short commercial break. When we come back, the program continues. Do stay tuned.
Best product in town is back. QCell's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800 and connect up to 15 users with 4G internet speeds and a long-lasting battery life. So rush now to any of our customer care locations and get the best for less while stocks last. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss, the Gambia's quality network. We innovate, others follow.
Step into the future of television with sleek and slim design Samsung Smart TVs, ranging in size from 32 to 75 inches and in different technology. Smart LED, Crystal UHD, Ultra High Definition, and QLED Quantum Dot LED. Get new ways of interacting with your TV as our TVs offer an unparalleled vision adventure from the comfort of your living room. Ultra Viewing Angle, powerful picture quality, web browser, gallery, EarthNet LAN, wireless LAN built-in, Bluetooth, screen mirroring technology, mobile on TV mirroring, built-in voice assistance, Wi-Fi direct. Not only that, our TVs are backed with 12 months warranty and we are currently on a promotion. Contact us on 333-3217.
Join the Gambia's fastest growing network and enjoy high-speed 4G LTE. Dial *335# to subscribe to QCell's 4G LTE service. There's no need to swap your SIM. QCell, Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow.
With so many things to
welcome back on the program. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV's This Morning program. So moving on, I think it is important to take our viewers through what we have today. So we've introduced something new, that is the motivational quotes. We'll be giving you motivational quotes just to make sure that you guys have fresh mornings and you're determined and confident through right here. Exactly. And also we have the social issues, Gambia Federation of Disabled, their challenges, and just to inform you all that starting from today, QTV will include sign language interpretation on our news, which is a good thing. So we have the Federation, Lamin Sonko will be here, as well as Mohammed Kurbali, the president of the Gambia Federation of Disabled, to come and talk to us about how this particular initiative will get to benefit the community. We also have the Keeping Fit segment footage from Q City. We have sports update as well as the entertainment update. So let's take a look at the motivational quote that we have for today by Nelson Mandela. A winner is a dreamer who never gives up. What does that tell you?
Well, this, you can, there's a lot involved. I mean, you can, this gives you confidence.
Yes.
A winner is a dreamer who never gives up.
That's what Nelson Mandela said.
Follow your dreams all the time.
Follow your dreams.
Never give up.
Yeah.
Keep pushing. You know, never surrender.
Yeah.
Just pull it one day, you will get there.
So for me, when I look at this particular quote by Nelson Mandela, what it tells me is that you don't actually have to win a trophy or win an award to be a winner. The fact that you don't get to win things that you get to touch or feel, doesn't mean that you're not a winner. The fact that you do not give up and you keep on moving, that makes you a winner. That's what this thing tells me.
What we call fulfillment.
Yes.
I mean, you feel that, look, at least I've done something.
Yes.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, this quote is referring to that. I mean, just keep pushing, just keep trying, make sure do something.
Yeah. And I know you have a story. Everyone has a story. That's what I say on a daily basis. There must have been somewhere that you wanted to see yourself. But whenever you knock on that door is closed. It's closed, it's closed. And that makes you a winner. And when you get it eventually, then you're there. Exactly. And we all have these stories.
I mean, who told you it's going to be easy? It's not just going to be rosy and you just come. You have to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Yes. But always, you have to keep pushing.
You have to keep pushing. The fact that you're determined and you push every single time, that makes you a winner. So today, we're leaving you with this quote by Nelson Mandela. Go out there, go to work confident, be bold. You will make it at the end of the day. You just have to keep pushing. So we will take another short commercial break. When we come back immediately, we have the newspaper review and we have Said Matijal right here. He will be helping us analyze some of the captivating stories that we have on these respective newspapers. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we will move straight on to that.
The best product in town is back. QCell's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800 and connect up to 15 users with 4G internet speeds and a long-lasting battery life. So rush now to any of our customer care locations and get the best for less while stocks last. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss, the Gambia's quality network. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that short break. Before we went for the break, I talked about the fact that up next is newspaper review. So, Balde, take us through what is happening on the Standard newspaper. What's up on the Standard?
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, on the Standard newspaper, we have retired Major Aliou Sow is new GAP candidate.
Interesting.
You know, one thing I like about this story is that GAP, I mean, what is wrong with the security service?
Well,
what is wrong with
Matthew will help us answer that.
This thing comes to my mind all the time. Now, we also have Gambia establishes sentencing council.
Ooh, okay.
Wow. Standard MD refutes Rambo Jata's statement. Appellant gets his sentence increased in state.
Okay.
Wow.
That is interesting.
We also have Rambo claims UDP approach APRC for alliance.
All right, that is what we have on the Standard newspaper.
Yes.
On Feria, we have APRC denies allegation about Jammeh disagreeing with ongoing coalition talks on the Feria newspaper. GCCI president raises concern regarding chambers operations. We also have GAB unveils ex-army major as presidential flag bearer. We also have Gambia records 11 new COVID-19 related deaths. And on the editorial section of the Fourier newspaper, we have the need for national healing. And we also have massive COVID vaccination campaign underway. Question of the day from Fourier: what impact is the ongoing death due to COVID-19 having? That's all we have on Fourier. Moving on, we have the Point newspaper.
Okay. On the Point newspaper, right groups demand Jammeh's handover to ICC as UK sanctions his host.
Okay.
We also have Gambia registered 11 COVID-19 deaths. EU allocates over 12 million in aid to windstorm victims.
Okay.
Ja Oil Company ranks second biggest taxpayer in the Gambia. I know they'll be very happy. They'll be happy. This one said, Ministry of Health revealed Gambia records 16,000 deaths in 2018 on NCD.
All right.
Yes,
so
this
that
is what we have on the Point
We
newspaper.
have the Standard newspaper, Fourier, and Point for you today, and that's all these newspapers have to offer today. Interesting headlines. Thank you so much for joining us, Said Mati.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, so I think one thing that we need to start with is the gap issue. You know, you talked about the fact that it's quite interesting. Because since this process started, you know, they chose a flag bearer before. Now they have another one. And previously, people had the concept that Bachili was the flag bearer. They later chose someone else. Now, there's someone else again. So what is the impact of that? The fact that they're not consistent, they're always changing when things happen. What can that cost them?
I think we need to, if we are following the political train, particularly when we are following GAB, we need to understand that Bachili has said from the onset that he is not interested in the presidency, that he is the secretary and party leader, but he is not naturally interested in the presidency. And therefore, when the issue of Bojang came, you know, and then he left, now he has his own political party. Of course, the party has to reorganize. We need to also understand that political parties are not supposed to be around one individual, that they have to have their own organizational setups, and I mean, as things change, they also need to change to be in line with time. And I think this is what exactly GAP has done, and we are happy that they have identified an individual to become their flag bearer, and we hope that he'll be able to contest in the upcoming election.
Mati, don't you think maybe changing political party leaders, I mean, can weaken the arms of the party all the time, showing us a new person? Don't you think that that's a problem?
Well, of course, given our current nature, it might be problematic. But then, of course, I mean, you see, parties are organizations. And, you know, presidential candidates are not supposed to be part of the executive, in fact. They have a process that they need to do. And each party have their own ways and means of doing that. And so perhaps in terms of our current political context, that might create problems and they will be called inconsistent. But I don't see anything inconsistent until the election comes in, you know, but so far this is what they want to do. For instance, Barrow came like 3 months before the elections and he won. So now they're setting up their own. So there's nothing wrong with that.
General, what is wrong with army generals all the time? I mean,
there must be something interesting.
You know, I'm so happy that the military, you know, the retired, people that were serving in the military have retired and that they are joining politics. It's normal. It's normal in many other countries, and so there's nothing wrong with that. It shows that after the life of a military, they want to engage in something else. And of course, I mean, the military is known for the discipline, so perhaps maybe too, GAP would be one of the most disciplined political parties. Who knows?
Okay, but is it okay to choose flag bearers? Is that okay, the fact that these people are chosen, instead of calling for a congress where party militants have to choose, or calling for an application process whereby people have to apply and then they get to compete? So talk to me about that. Is it okay to choose, or they have to call for application?
In terms of parties, what I'm beginning to see is that all political parties have different approaches. But of course, what we keep calling for is that parties must have strong internal democratic processes to ensure that whoever wants to contest for the party, you know, that's why sometimes some other parties will call for primaries. But of course, if a party, you know, GAP has not been tested, is seen as a small party, and so they're doing those things. I mean, perhaps it's their way, but of course what is normal is for them to have internal processes where everyone would be happy. So we did not know exactly how this thing came about, whether it was selected by the Secretary
or it
General
was handpicked by the Secretary General.
Yeah, so we do not really know. Of course, for a party to be sustainable and for it to continue, it must start practicing what we call internal party democracy, and that is, you know, doing exactly what they want to do in the public.
I was going through what Mr. Sow was saying, his interview. I mean, our political parties, is there not any other way that they can approach, I mean, the general public. He said he will also deal with agriculture, he will empower people and do all those things. Don't you think there must be a way? I mean, because people are tired of hearing agriculture, and you know, from inception, still our agriculture is behind.
I mean, we shouldn't be tired. I mean, we shouldn't be tired because we all know that agriculture is the main employer in this country. Is the, I mean, every country needs food self-sufficiency. Perhaps the issue is that it has not been addressed the way it's supposed to be addressed, but then it will be an issue that will be central to our discussion as a country in terms of getting the right food, getting the right nutrition that we need in this country. So, I mean, people shouldn't get tired of these issues because these are issues that are relevant to their lives. What they need to do is to start asking the right question. How are you going to do about it? You know, we have had people say this and that. Can you compare what other people are saying in that sense? But just not to, I mean, we should never get tired about our issues.
I just wanted to say this. I am not going to vote, for example, for a president that does not, for a presidential candidate who's not talking about agriculture. To be honest, I'm not going to vote for that particular individual. Agriculture has to be part of your plans.
It should be central.
Yes, it should be central. But like you said, the question that needs to be asked is, put all of these manifestos of these different flag bearers on your table and get to compare their different approaches. That is how you are able to make informed choices. So moving on, we have APRC denies allegation about Jammeh disagreeing with ongoing coalition talk. So it seems they're a bit divided. That is what I've seen. Some of them are saying, yeah, Jammeh called them and told them, we do not want this coalition with any political party, especially not with the NPP. But contrary to what we hear from the executive of the party, they're talking about the fact that Yahya Jammeh did not say anything to them. So there's already conflict here and there in relation to this particular coalition talk.
I mean, this is the problem of personalizing political parties. Sometimes you don't know, you know, where issues are coming from. But of course, I see APRC as a political party. And as early as December last year, we predicted that if APRC goes towards NPP, it might divide the party. And I think we are seeing that as well, because the nature of the party is that it has been personalized to a larger extent. But of course, I mean, we see that there are members that are also interested in the nature of the party and the way it does its politics. So there's that back and forth that is happening. And even if you follow on social media, you see this kind of discussions happening. But of course, this is political party. Political parties, I mean, have people with different interests, and therefore they need to fight over. That's why we call for internal party democracy. They need to fight over, you know, the interests of the party. And perhaps both of them are right. At the end of the day, it is their party. Then they need to settle it down.
Yeah, I think it's quite sad. You talked about party democracy. I think this is something that is very important. Because if you look at it, I think civil society organizations, starting from now on, in as much as going after the president, these political party leaders should also be, you know, checked. They should be held accountable. The transparency has to be there, because you never know who is going to win the next elections. Elections is very funny. So is civil society trying to actually divert some of their attention to these actually political party leaders in relation to accountability and transparency, because it's important. These people might be presidents at some point, and it will be bad. What they're doing at grassroots level, that is what they're going to transfer to the state.
I mean, you're right. I mean, political parties are government in waiting, and we know that. And therefore, civil society is not picking and leaving anybody, because what we do, we address the public discourse. And when we address in the public discourse, or even the public space, I mean, all political parties are involved. So sometimes, you know, the issue is parties, they have their own, you know, structures and modus operandi. But of course, we also have what we look for. And in most cases, we try to look at the issues. What issues are they bringing up, to what extent they are? And sometimes we try to support in terms of engaging and ensuring that the processes of building internal party democracies are there, because those are crucial and important in our body politics. But of course, we are seeing a lot of changes that are happening within the political party framework, and you know, there are congresses now more frequent, more vocal. So things are changing, and also part of the transition, some of these issues are eminent. They must come up, and when they come up, we hope that by the time of the election they will be addressed, and we'll continue to do that. But of course, civil society do not neglect any. In terms of our programs, everything, we invite all political parties. For us, we do not care whether you have 1 vote, 2 votes, 3 votes, as long as you're registered, legal. So we try to engage you in some of the discussions.
So don't you think people think APRC is still a big party?
Of course it is.
Whenever they happen to do an alliance with a party, that party might win.
Well, in our article in December 2020, we said that APRC was the kingmaker. Still is a party that has a lot of followers. But of course, we also identify the fact that in terms of alliance building or coalition, that has the potential of dividing the political party. And of course, we're not going to say that, I mean, our prediction is right, but we are seeing signs of that. We're not sure whether, and the good thing in this country now is that people own their votes.
Said Mati, I think we have Esso Nyasi live. Like I mentioned on our Community Watch segment, today we're taking a look at Operation Clear the Street. So we have Ansumana Esonyasi there. So Ansumana, if you can hear me, just take us through what is happening in Birkama currently. How is the process going so far?
Hello, good morning, Jennifer and Balde. Well, as you can see right behind me is officers of the Gambia Police Force, led by the PRO, officers from the Drivers Union, as well as a host of other senior officers from the local government authorities in the country. Now, this is Operation Clear the Roads, which is aimed at decongesting the traffic and the roads as well, that the police have announced over a week ago. So behind me is the police PRO, who is all but set to give a statement.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ansumana Esonyasi. So just take us through the process so far. When you came in the morning, what did you see? Are you impressed with what you've seen so far? Or have you started, actually? Has this process even started?
It is yet to start, and like I highlighted earlier, the police PRO would make an opening statement, after which the process would start.
All right, so let's have the police PRO deliver a statement there in Birkama on Operation Clear the Roads.
Thank you so much, Ansumana. Today we are here at the Birkama Police Station to launch the Operation Clear Roads, as we have been planning over a period of time. And in fact, we have sent information to the general public to inform people about individuals who have their derelict vehicles or stalls or shops that have encroach into the road, to remove these stalls, because the operation is aimed at ensuring that all obstacles that are causing congestion on the traffic are being removed. And so today is the day when we are commencing this operation. With me here I have the task force, that is the people who comprises of this committee from various institutions. For example, the National Road Authority, we have people here, we have people from the Birkama Area Council, people from the Kanifing Municipal Council, from the Banjul City Council, and also from the physical planning, as well as a police backup team that will be ensuring that in the places that we are removing don't get back to these places. One very vital information that we want to put across, especially regarding this operation, is the fact that we want it to be sustainable. And that is, once we remove or clear the road, we want to appeal to the general public, especially those who are affected, to ensure that they don't return to these places. We have had several informations around, say, oh, you know, police will remove these things, but tomorrow or next tomorrow, people will come back again and continue. But as you can see today, we have cleared this whole area here. Used to be occupied by vendors and so, but today we have ensured that none of these vendors are around here. But we will also move to ensure that places that need to be demolished, that's why you have these heavy machines here as well. And so all those things will be done. But most importantly, we want the general public to ensure that when we removed or when you are affected, you don't come back to this place, because if you do, there will be consequences, because we will prosecute people and there will be penalties attached to it. In fact, vehicles that we found wrongly parked or derelict vehicles will be removed and taken to another place. And if your vehicle have been affected, you will need to pay penalties or fines in order to be able to regain your vehicle. And so we want the general public to take notice of that. From here, we will move on to the various places. But in the first place, we have ensured that officers spend night here, in fact, to ensure that any individual that is coming to put your stall or the vendors that comes on the sides of the road don't even do that in the first place. That's why in the early morning today, you've seen that none of this place is occupied today. We will keep up this momentum and continue like that as we proceed in the operation. From West Coast region, we will move to KM, and from KM, we'll move to Banjul. In fact, we also know there are certain places that cannot be removed straight away. And we've already warned them, but we will also ensure that a period of time is given for our machines to be prepared so that those places will also be removed. Maybe if we cannot remove them today, but tomorrow or next tomorrow, that will follow suit. So don't say, today they have not touched me, so therefore I am getting away with it. We are preparing to ensure that every individual or stall or shop that has encroached into the road is being removed accordingly as well. I will allow the National Road Authority, since they are a major stakeholder in this whole operation, to also add a few words to the information that we are passing to the public.
Thank you. Good morning to everybody here. Thank you so much, PRO. My name is Bakari Kemane from the National Roads Authority. Like the PRO said, we are the custodians of the roads, all roads and bridges in this country. And of course, it is our mandate and our responsibility to see to that the roads are free from obstruction. It's another way of maintaining, since our primary responsibility lies on maintaining the roads that we build. You will all bear with us. The National Roads Authority, we build roads, and of course we are maintaining it, but our main obstacle, our main problems are our roads has been torn into markets, workshops, and all kind of businesses. People live in their premises, their business centers, using the roads as their business centers. That cannot be allowed. That's why the National Roads Authority, partnering with, like the PRO said, all these institutions, our main partner in this is the police. We paid a courtesy call on the police management to talk about this unnecessary obstructions on the road. These are caused by ourselves. We don't need to blame anybody, but we blaming ourselves because we all contribute in this congestion. So we form a task force. The task force, our main responsibility is to make sure roads are free from all kind of businesses. Then we have markets. Let the vendors go back to the markets and do their daily sales. We also have few garages, whereby you don't have official garages, but of course you have pocket garages. All you need to do is to rearrange yourself, make sure you don't interfere with the traffic. We've sent 2-3 to make sure everybody who has a take in these obstructions, you removed voluntarily. It's not our intention to come here use force people to move, because the people that we are moving are ourselves. The people that we are moving are our brothers, our sisters, our wives and moms. It is not our intention. We're from the community, of course, but it's the same community that serving the people. We don't need to be selfish here to say, because it's my wife who is doing this, that's why we are not touching. So starting in the Brikama, if you're in Banjul or KM, or even in North Bank, if you think this operation is only I marked for only the people of Combo, you're making a big mistake. We're coming around, the same task force. You'll be seeing the same faces everywhere in this country. You might not be seeing the same operative on the ground, but you'll be seeing our faces everywhere. And like the PRO said, this is here to stay, and it's here forever. Like you have my landed friend here, he's always on the road, the traffic police. Whether it's King Koli, Commissioner King Koli, or Bakari Mane, but King Koli is representing traffic police. We all know signaling and traffic, all the rules regarding to the road, we have a unit responsible for that. So they are here to stay. This is also here to stay, as the National Roads Authority is here to stay. Let's all work.
Those are highlights from Birkama on Operation Clear the Road. So I think this is an opportunity to also engage Said Mati in relation to that. It is a very brilliant initiative, but I saw the police PRO stress something very important and something that we've been disturbing him a lot with. That is the issue of sustainability. Exactly. Considering the fact that most of the time in Gambia, when we're implementing certain things, it's just within the period, and after that it dies down. So do you feel the same way?
Well, of course. I mean, we've seen that. We live in this country, so we have seen that. Sometimes they make announcement full of 1, 2, 3, and then, I mean, that's the end. I'm happy that he's coming out upfront to say that, you know, this initiative would be sustainable. But of course, I think one of the things that must make this thing sustainable is for us to start rethinking about how do we do our urban planning, planning in general, because the problem now we're seeing is the problem of planning. That's why, we have people coming up and then trying to abuse the street. I really, I think this initiative is great. I think it needs to be taken, but of course, there should be avenues that should be created also for those people that will be affected.
Yes, but I was about to say that because we had the representative from the National Roads Authority talk about the fact that the streets are turned into markets
of course,
and garages. So it means these people do not have a choice. They don't have a spot to actually do their businesses. And these are people that are coming from families and they have to feed their families. So making sure the roads are clear is one thing, but what else can we create as a country to make sure that these people have somewhere to fit in? So I think that has to be balanced.
Exactly. It's a problem. Clearing the roads is very important, but sustaining it, making sure it stands. Because we have that problem. You heard what the PRO said. I mean, there are other properties that can't be removed from the highway. But they should make sure they make a follow-up. Let them not just go and relax. I mean, to let those things there, because you see piles of gravel, sand on the road. Makes it very inconvenient, And at the same time, I think relationships, maybe family relationship, family ties, these are also contributing, because you cannot send someone.
It's an everyday thing.
You cannot send,
I mean, it's true. This country, to move this country is very difficult, because sometimes people personalize stuff. When you want to do your work, people will look at it, oh, small brother, this, that. I mean, that would not make us go anywhere. That's why I say that there needs to be proper planning that needs to be done. We need to reorganize the urban area. But so more also, we need to do what we have to do for this country, for the future generation. It doesn't matter who is affected. Because at the end of the day, I mean, we have to decide whether we want to move forward or we want to stay back. And I think majority of the people want to move forward. And
he mentioned something, I mean, I can't imagine. He said there are officers who spent the night there to make sure, this thing happens. So why should officers spend the night on the road? Don't you think people should take up this responsibility?
Well, of course, there are two things. People want to survive. They want to try to see how best they can survive. So they will try to find loopholes and see how to survive on that. And I'm not sure how sustainable is having police to guard all throughout the process. Of course, perhaps that will give them more job. But then, I mean, the other thing is to perhaps educate the public, to engage them, to see reason, but also at the same time provide alternatives, alternative venues. Asking people to just go back to the market is not enough, because some people are not, they sell sand. And I always complain about the sand sales, because at the end of the day, they block the road. Sometimes you as a, driver, you come in, you don't even know where you're going to go. So those are issues that I think is right, that they need to look at it.
They should also address I know we will move, but they should also address the corner garages. I mean, I went to I went to Tabokoto at a place. I saw a man turn the junction to a garage. Now they have cancelled that junction.
I mean, sometimes in this country you see a lot of chaos, and I think the police and the authorities must do their job, and they must do it not to please
as
anyone.
We can see right now, the operation has started. We've seen them there. Like I mentioned, this is a brilliant initiative, but another thing that we want to stress is the fact that it is necessary to also take a look at where these people can be put into. So probably companies are watching. Maybe they can use this as some form of corporate social responsibility to help some of these people who will be victims of this particular operation. So I won't say victims, but at least that will suffer, I would say, from this particular operation. So we've seen that this particular truck there has a car there, so it means probably this is a car that may be obstructed somewhere and they're transporting it. So I am told probably this particular individual will have to pay a fine to be able to get his or her vehicle. And we also hope that that particular payment of that fine will be quite transparent so that we won't have some form of corruption in this particular practice to make sure it is sustainable.
Yes. Moving them is one thing, but also where are they going? I mean, it's another thing. I think they should figure that out.
Yeah, actually, I am told by the police PRO that they will actually handle that. It will be in their own custody, and there's a process whereby you have to pay a particular amount to be able to recover the vehicle. And after that, probably, I don't think that particular individual will go back to do the same thing because people don't want to remove money.
Yeah, I also think that what the police need to do and the task force is just to keep on educating and communicating with the public. Let the public know what is there, and then, like you said, to be very transparent about it. Otherwise, people will start bringing all sorts of discussions around it, which, you know, sometimes distract the real issues.
And people might not even take it seriously.
Of course.
Because sometimes when you're doing certain operations and you that is doing the operation, there's certain loopholes in the process, then people tend to take a lead back seat and say, okay, I'm not going to accept this anymore. So let's go back to our newspaper review. That is Birkama right there, Operation Clear the Roads by the Gambia Police Force in collaboration with the National Roads Authority. So we're still on the newspaper review. On the editorial of the Foreign newspaper, we have the need for national healing. So let's turn on to Yaya Jammeh a little bit, because on the Point newspaper will also have rights groups demand Jammeh's handover to ICC as UK sanctions his host. So first of all, let's talk about the national healing. I know this is something that we talked about before, but it's important because it's quite trending right now. I had a conversation with Mohammed Sandeng and Aisha. I was just talking about it the last time, and they were talking about what reconciliation means to them. That reconciliation to them is not about perpetrator-victim reconciliation, but it's more of a general reconciliation by the whole country. So the need for healing is still there, and it's a discussion ongoing.
I think one of the things that we need to really focus on is addressing the needs of the victims first, because I mean, even you know, the victims are the people that are central to this issue, and therefore if we address their needs. Just the other day I saw some victim returning a check that was given to him. It shows that even the approaches that we are taking to address some of these issues are not perhaps not working to their benefit. So I think there is a need to clearly look at that. The government need to focus on that. Those that need healthcare need to be taken care of. Those that need education need to be taken care of. And then at the end of the day, I think I agree with Sandeng and Aisha that at the end of the day, it's not also about the victim perpetrator, but it's also about the society. Because today, all that we are talking about is Yaya Jammeh A, Yaya Jammeh B, this, that. How do we move away from that? It's also important for this country, so that the issues that are confronting us now could be addressed. Now we are talking about the issue of land, the other social issues that are coming up. And I think as a country, we need to start addressing these issues. But of course, to what extent have we been healed by the TRRC process, and all these transitional justice processes also need to be questioned.
That's very important. I think people should understand that healing is something very important when it comes to the people, because most people suffered. I mean, there are people suffered. So there should be a way. Don't you think the government should find a way of at least making sure these people, are handled well? I mean, you just mentioned they return their checks. Maybe they are not happy with the whole situation.
Well, I think, you see, the TRRC was tasked to do a job. And I think what the government needs to do, I mean, I'm talking about the government of President Barrow, because at the end of the day, they are responsible for it's the government that committed the violation. Therefore, it's the government that should take care of that. And so for me, sometimes, even when they talk about reconciliation, I said, who should reconcile with who? In our case, it was not sort of a war. It was a human rights violation. It was the government that committed. So is it that people need to reconcile with the government? And how do we reconcile with the government is building that trust. Is our trust in the government increase? And especially when it comes to the victim, the government need to, spend money. They're spending a lot of money in many other things that are not relevant. I mean, they need to take care of a population that has been traumatized. And I think that's what they need to do. At least not to just give them, handouts in the sense of you know, fixing their problems. Their problems cannot be fixed. Even what they have lost, they cannot regain.
Don't you think healing is way more than money, not only giving them?
Of course.
Yes.
I mean, it's what we call about acknowledging. It starts with accepting that people have suffered, and then taking that is one way. And of course, what we call in terms of the reparation. I mean, because I'm saying that the victim needs to be taken care of because they are the people that suffered the most. The rest of the society suffered, but perhaps our suffering can be considered as secondary also. But then the victims, they lost, some lost their families, some lost their lives. I mean, you know, those are issues that, you know, you cannot return the lives lost. You cannot return the torture and all those things. I mean, but at least you can make them understand that they're still part of society, that some of the challenges that they are facing need to be addressed, and those are issues that needs to be central. And for me, I always believe that if the victims are well taken care of, then some of the other issues that we are looking forward, whether it is justice, whether it is the national
it will be
easier. It will be, yes. It will come.
Yeah,
come
so
close.
talking about reparations, just to tell the viewers that we will have Mr. Jallo here. Esther Jallo, the communications officer of the TRRC. He will be here to talk to us about reparations because we want to understand the process.
Of course.
Just so to help the public also understand the process, who gets what and how the entire process has been. So we'll get to have that tomorrow just to clear the air in relation to certain misconception. You just talked about the fact that somebody returned his or her check. You know, why did that happen? So he'll be here to answer some of those questions, which is important. So the Point newspaper, like I mentioned, is trying to put across that rights groups demand Jammeh's handover to ICC as UK sanctions his host. That is why when MS Ba came on the program last week, I spoke to him about the fact that if really NPP and APRC is really going to do a coalition, they should bring about the coalition agreement so we all see what the paper entails.
The agreement.
Some of these reasons why I decided to say that. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, for me, my position has always been clear that anyone that has violated the rights of Gambian needs to face justice. Whether it's justice here, justice wherever it is, justice must be justice. In terms of NPP, APRC alliance, whether this issue is going to be central to that, whether Jammeh should face justice or not, I mean, they can decide whatever they want to do. But of course, as per the national interest is to ensure that people that violate rights of people need to face justice. I mean, and for me, I think that should be central. At the end of the day, if we can all forgive and then move on, that's also another thing. But we also have to decide on those issues. But for them just to sit and then they cannot decide for the rest of the country. And so I think they need to also factor that.
What does it take to bring a former president to justice?
I have no idea, but then of course we've seen the case of Hissène Habré, where people advocated. He was in Senegal, and I think they had a trial. There's a lot of advocacy. There needs to be advocacy, as this rights group are also saying, because at the end of the day, it also takes political will and also interest. But of course, you know, one country cannot do that. It also requires maybe international support,
collaborations to push
for that to happen. But of course, I mean, whether it will happen or not, you know, is another question. And I think, I mean, at the end of the day, I also always like to wait for the outcome of the TRRC report, because at the end of the day we'll be able to know.
That will guide us.
Don't you think there will be possible consequences, I mean, bringing a former president
but actually justice? Not to Gambia, because these are talking about the ICC.
I mean consequences. That's why we need to have you know, and we've been advocating for that. There needs to be a national conversation around these issues. I think we missed that opportunity, but still we have an opportunity where we need to have a serious national conversation as to what exactly we want to do. I mean, what consequences? I mean, if people violate the right of people, and they need to, it's the law that is speaking. I mean, and the law must always guide our actions, and therefore if the law is what must speak, then the law must speak. It's not about who is happy or who is not happy. Then if you have to consider that, then we will never move anywhere, because if you slap me and somebody thinks like, you know, you're right to slap me and when you were even wrong, I mean, at the end of the day, what society is that? That will be a deadly society. We must be a society of rules, you know, of justice. We must be a society of tolerance. We must be a society that thinks about the next generation, but not just to look at our current situation.
Well, the reason why I ask that question is in the Gambia, most people here, most of them don't abide by the law. Most of them don't know what the law says. I mean, all they do is, I mean, when this thing happens, they just go out and do their thing.
Of course, you see, there's what we call, I mean, there's a gap in this country where some educated that understand situations, there are masses that have no idea of what the laws are saying. Sometimes the law is not in line with their own belief system. So, I mean, how do we reconcile all these issues are also very critical to our discourse moving forward. And so, therefore, there's a lot of education that needs to be done, civic education. Like, people need to understand that at the end of the day, it's not about the individual, it's about the crime and the issues, and those issues need to be addressed. And we shouldn't be, we shouldn't just say, well, it will affect some people, or some people will not be happy, and then create more problem for society. So justice is one critical issue that needs to be there, and how it is going to be, whether it is going to be here, outside, wherever it is critical. But of course, at the end of the day, also, that's why I said we need a national conversation
to decide as a country
the consequences that you might talk about, because of course they might be there, and so therefore, how do we address those issues?
Well, I think that national discussion is very important, because here, I mean, when you touch a particular set of people, I mean, I mean, we have different parties. We have different parties. When you talk about the UDP, I mean, we know there are a set of people. When you say APRC, we have a set of people, GDC. So this is a problem. So we need that conversation.
Yes,
of course.
Obviously. Yes, I said, Mate, I think you're going to answer that question for us at another newspaper review, inshallah, because due to time constraints. But I even had a lot of questions to ask you, even in relation to the attestation issue, because I wanted an update. So hopefully, we will get to have you back here, and you will get to make all of these things clear for us. Thank you so much for coming here on this morning. We really, really appreciate your support. Like I always say, on the newspaper review, we are not here to make the decisions for you, but you get to listen to what we say, and as citizens, you get to make informed choices. So it's left to you to make your own choice, depending on the analysis that we make. So like I said, thank you so much, Said Mati. Up next, we'll be taking a look at social issues, the Gambia Federation of Disabled, the challenges we have Lamin Sonko in the studio, as well as Mohamed Kurbali to come right here and talk about this. I talked about the fact that on Monday today, we are starting sign language interpretation on our 8 p.m. news, so that is good news. So they'll be talking about how this will be very beneficial to the community. And don't forget that today the mass vaccination of the COVID-19 has started. You can access the COVID-19 vaccine at any health facility in the country, and considering the fact that now you get to have a lot of options. We have about 3 vaccines currently, so you have a lot of options to choose from. The J&J is just 1 shot, the AstraZeneca and the Sinopharm. So go to the nearest health facility and get vaccinated for us to be able to fight this particular pandemic. So we will take a short commercial break. When we come back, we will head right onto social issues.
Join the Gambia's fastest growing network and enjoy high-speed 4G LTE. Dial *335# to subscribe to QCell's 4G LTE service. There's no need to swap your SIM. QCell, Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow.
In a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with, and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia. One nation, 8 tribes. We are the smiling coast of Africa. Gap-toothed, wide smile, rich melanin skin, radiant with the colors of a rich tapestry of cultures, telling one story of unity and beauty. Wrapped in the soft folds of a mother's sir, a Khalifa's grambuba, we embody the past of our ancestors and the promise of our descendants. Follow the records of our history, this story that tells of a people watered by the river in the gleaming sun of a coastal nation. Listen to the folk tales, those old tales we grew up on. Lebon, Lupin. Amoon na fi, dana am. Hear the music of an entire nation in the language of its heart and mother tongue. Our tongues are heavy with the song of our people. Rich and thick it rolls off like domoda, soft like yasa, bena chinla, nyokomom. Feel the beat of our pounding feet as we dance to the sounds of a throbbing drum, ageless in its rhythm. The griot's kora that speaks the wisdom of the ages. The sweet sound of a mother's lullaby bringing even sweeter sleep. We clap a melody with young and old hands, a symphony full of the pleasures of life, the joys of work and home. We are Gambian. Bi suñu cosaan la, suñu dëkk, suñu bos.
Step into the future of television with sleek and slim design Samsung Smart TVs, ranging in size from 32 to 75 inches, and in different technology. Smart LED, Crystal UHD, Ultra High Definition, and QLED Quantum Dot LED. Get new ways of interacting with your TV as our TVs offer an unparalleled vision adventure from the comfort of your living room. Ultra viewing angle, powerful picture quality, web browser, gallery, EarthNet LAN, wireless LAN built-in, Bluetooth, screen mirroring technology, mobile on TV mirroring, built-in voice assistance, Wi-Fi direct. Not only that, our TVs are backed with 12 months warranty and we are currently on a promotion. Contact us on 333-3217.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in and you're watching QTV's This Morning program, thank you so much, Sage Matijo, for joining us on this program on the newspaper review. We also had the community watch where we had Ansumana Esonyasi in Birkama on Operation Clear the Roads. So moving on social issues today, we have the Gambia Federation of the Disabled. We'll be talking about the challenges that this particular institution is facing, and like I mentioned earlier, QTV is starting sign language interpretation on its 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. news, respectively. So Lamin Sonko Association of Sign Language Interpreters is here with us. We also have Mohamed Kurbali, President of the Gambia Federation of Disabled. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So Lamin, let's start with you, because I think this thing that we're starting today, incorporating sign language interpretation on our news, is very important. But I think you're in the right position to tell us the impact that this will register.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, QTV, for inviting the Gambia Federation of the Disabled and the Association of Sign Language Interpreters. This thing is very, very, very important because about 2 months ago, Mr. Tunkara of QTV called and said, "Hi, Lamin, there is one thing deaf people always ask for when we have consumer parliament,
Yes.
during Pura's consumer parliament."
Yeah.
I said, "What thing is that?" I said, "Is deaf people were advocating for the inclusion of sign language interpreter during news hours," and then they said, "Oh, they want TV stations to at least introduce this thing." And then he said, "Now QTV is ready to bring it live now." So QTV is going to be the first TV to start this thing. So we were very excited, and at the association level. And, when I reached the association, I informed the director of the Deaf Association. He was very much excited, and I had also informed my team members, and they were all happy about it because it is long overdue. Deaf people, anytime we have social events. Since 2011, the Deaf Association had been organizing International Week for the Deaf, and then this is one of the things deaf people have been calling for, because they said, "Can you imagine? News is very, very important, and then leaving them out, not including them in the news, is something that they really felt and then they really wish to have." So thank God, now we're going to start it, and we're happy that the UN Accelerator Lab is funding this project. But we're very, 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 very happy.
Yeah. So, Balde, I think this is the need for the Pura Consumer Parliament. You know, people get to come to the Parliament and actually express their views.
Exactly.
And when they express it, institutions like QTV and other institutions have to take it up.
Yeah,
so I'm so happy that this particular demand by individuals it's been realized by
Definitely.
QTV that
Yes.
we will have sign language interpretation.
You know
So I think the Consumer Parliament is a
Yes,
good one, and
it's
we'll
a
be
good
going
one.
there
It's a
more
good
often
one.
to
It's a
listen
good
to
one. It's a
the
good
plight
one.
of citizens and be implementing them.
When you look at it,
Yeah.
it's very important to have this sign language on
Yeah.
our television. If I stand at the main gate,
Yeah.
I mean, the students from St. John's
John's
School,
Cathedral.
Yeah.
if they are coming, most of them will stand and tell me.
Yes.
Yes.
They'll be
Yes.
They
like
can't
this.
hear
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
saying.
What I understand what they will
Yeah.
telling me is that I see you on TV.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
why not include them?
Yes.
Why not make them part of it? Why
Yes.
not they feel them? Well, I will start. Can you tell us the history of the sign language?
All right, thank you very much. Sign language, the first misconception that I want to clear here is many people will think sign language is universal. You know, sign language has dialects. Each country has its own sign language. The Americans are using ASL. The British are using BSL. In the Gambia here, we're using GSL, that's Gambian Sign Language. But above all, we have what we call International Sign Language. That is also been created so that if deaf people from different countries, for instance, a deaf person from Korea and a deaf person from America or from the Gambia, when they come in contact, they use international. So because language it has to do with culture, and the World Federation of the Deaf had encouraged each member state, that's WFD, encouraged each member state to establish their own sign language. So sign language initially was started in France. You know, one can say in the history of sign language, it started in France. So there was this church. You know, the priest of the church. You know, during the mass gathering. So there are two deaf people, two deaf siblings. They used to sit aside. So after the mass, everybody will go home, and the deaf people will stay. The two deaf people will stay in the church, and then waiting for the leader of the church to come and at least summarize something for them. So that leader of that church was the guy who started to put in some things together, started to communicate to them, and from there, and it moved to America, and then we have the first deaf university in America called Gallaudet University, and then the first institution was built in America after its founding in France. It moved to America. So most of the pioneers who worked on sign language worked in that institution called Gallaudet University in US. So from there, the sign language started spreading, and member states started coming to develop their own sign languages. So in the Gambia here, we were first supported by the Swedish. The Swedish Association of the Disabled came to Gambia in early 2000 to support the Deaf Association in the research of sign language, and they were later followed by the Netherlands, the Dutch. So that's why our alphabet is a bit similar to that of the Netherlands. So because they also really supported the development of sign language in the Gambia. But the Swedish really started it, and then later on the French. So what they did is they brought in a linguist. So the linguist will work with the Deaf Association called GADO. So that is why we as interpreters, we are hosted by the Deaf Association, because we are symbiotic to each other. We work closely. So they also spearheaded the training of sign language interpreters, because they feel that if without sign language interpreters, the public won't hear them. So we work closely with them. But this is how sign language started, and then the Deaf Association had a project with Finland about 8 years ago. So we established 12 regional branches, and then we train TOT teachers of trainers. So we send them to all the 12 regional branches, and then to teach sign language to our 12 branches. So now in the Gambia now, so every region that you go to, you find deaf people using GSL, and then up to now, sign language has been very, very, very much beneficial, and they use sign language as a medium to communicate. Even with the social media, they use video call. If you can remember, during the Consumer Parliament, deaf people were always saying, they said they want GSM operators to at least minimize, I don't know how to call it, if they can waive or they can reduce the cost of a video call, because most of them, they use video call to communicate and to make sign language communication. So sign language is very, very, very useful in the life of deaf people.
Wow. It's good that you gave us a rundown of the history of sign language. So like I mentioned, we have Mohamed Coulibaly, the president of the Gambia Federation of Disabled here. And like I said, the topic today is Gambia Federation of Disabled, the challenges that they get to face and some of the activities that you do. So Mr. Coulibaly, welcome to the program, and just take us through some of the activities that you do over there to actually support individuals who suffer disability in the country and the challenges in summary.
Okay, thank you very much. I am Mohamed Coulibaly, Gambia's first and only visually impaired magistrate, and the president of Gambia Federation of the Disabled, which is an umbrella disabled federation representing the voices of all persons with disabilities in the Gambia, ranging from visual impairment, hard of hearing, mental impairment, albinism, physically challenged, the list goes on and on and on. As the federation, obviously, as per our constitution, is actually to partner with the government, non-governmental organizations, parastatals, individuals, and other relevant authority that support our shared vision and mission together. Because we feel that as persons with disability, we are definitely vulnerable. We definitely face a lot of challenges in our day-to-day movement or day-to-day lives. So as the federation, we ensure that we network with all these relevant authorities just to ensure that all the fundamental rights and freedoms of persons with disabilities are respected, promoted, and protected. So therefore, we organize a range of activities. For example, we talk about awareness raising, because to us as the umbrella federation and persons with disabilities, we ensure that at least we constantly or continuously raise awareness, at least to the public, to understand that obviously our disabilities will not be the characteristic that will define us or our future, and it should not actually be an impediment in any way that should absolutely hold us back. So we continue to advocate, like for instance, if you read Section 7 of the current disability bill that is being currently unanimously passed by the National Assembly members since on Tuesday, 6 July 2021, it actually enjoins the Gambia government and even the federation and other authorities to continuously raise awareness for people to know and understand the potentials and the capabilities of persons with disabilities, what we can do and the challenges we face in order to combat all stereotypes and prejudices, at least that will actually hinder the potentials of persons with disabilities. This actually also is in conjunction with Article 8 of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, from which the Disability Bill of the Gambia actually draw its blessings from. So we ensure that we organize at least leadership skills training, project proposal or project management skills, daily living skills and other activities to organize sexual and reproductive health, training, for women with disabilities and other persons with disabilities, just to ensure that at least persons with disabilities know and we become aware, our relatives and even government and other authorities, so that they can give us always equal opportunities and not to discriminate us, as stated in Section 6 of the Disability Bill that is actually awaiting the assent of the president. And if you read also Article 5 of the UN Convention, it's all trying to enjoin the states parties to ensure that equal treatment of persons with disabilities, just as other normal individuals that that we may call it, at least to have equal opportunities in order to compete, in order to strive in our lives. So these are some of the activities that we keep doing just to ensure that at least we strive.
You talked about the disability bill that the president has to assent to. So we know the draft constitution has been rejected. I know Goodluck Jonathan has been in and out trying to see how best this constitution can be revived, but we've not seen much. We've heard the president say the constitution is not dead, it will come eventually. So if that particular constitution was voted for, how beneficial was that going to be for your federation, considering the fact that the rights of people living with disability was really stressed on the draft constitution?
Yes, thank you very much. In fact, before the conclusion of the draft constitution, persons with disabilities, as the Gambia Federation of the Disabled, being the umbrella federation, was actually consulted. We were contacted. So we ensure that at least each organization of persons with disabilities that are duly registered under the Federation sends in representatives, at least in order to thoroughly scrutinize the Constitution as per whether our needs, our rights and aspirations were encapsulated in the said draft Constitution. So we had a position paper. At least we've outlined a range of issues that were actually absent in the draft Constitution, because we feel that if the draft Constitution succeeds, obviously we are going to have a supreme national document, which is the Constitution, that is going to guarantee the respect, the promotion, and protection of our fundamental rights and freedom. So when we've come up with the position paper, we've actually critiqued it, at least came up with salient issues, like, for example, equal opportunities to be given to persons with disabilities. You know, quota system, of course, to be reserved for persons with disabilities at the Parliament. You know, scholarship to be given to persons with disabilities in terms of education, in terms of receiving health care and health services were all important. And of course, having concluded this position paper and submitted it to the CRC, they have given definitely consideration to the position paper. So as in section 58 of the draft Constitution, our needs, our aspirations, our fundamental rights and freedom that we have pointed out actually were all encapsulated in the Constitution. So this is why when we had the news that this bill had been legally killed, you know, that's the right terminology to be used, by the National Assembly members, it was a shock to the disability communities, because we felt that at least the supreme national document that is above all the laws, that sits at the apex, that had actually recognized these rights of persons with disabilities, you know, are no longer, you know, of valuable importance. So this is why we will feel very, very happy, even though I don't think it may be possible, but maybe, I'm not sure. Still, if it comes back in the near future and all these fundamental rights of persons with disabilities are encapsulated, it will be a huge benefit to persons with disabilities. But we hope for the best.
Well, sir, it's important. I know difficulties in life will be even more stiff when it comes to disability. When you look at our working environment today in the Gambia and the world at large, the percentage of disabled people working in offices and going to our high schools. I made a research and it says 37% of disabled people working in offices. And when you look at people without disability, most of them are in the offices. So what is the problem? What do you think should be done?
Again, I will love to make reference to Section 31, subsections 1, 2, and 3 of the Constitution of the Gambia, that is 1997. And I will also, by extension, make reference to Article 27 of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The state parties should be enjoined to ensure that persons with disabilities are gainfully and meaningfully employed, at least in the employment sectors. So we should introduce what we call a reasonable accommodation, that is at least to reasonably adjust and modify the working environments or the working sectors or the public or private buildings to make sure that at least they become accessible and adaptable at least to persons with disabilities. But the fact that at least the government, the non-governmental organization, other authorities do not actually create reasonable accommodation as well as accessibilities is one of the problems or one of the challenges as to why persons with disabilities cannot be employed. For example, you look at me as the Gambia's first and only visually impaired magistrate, and who has, for example, the computer just to use even better than the sighted persons, where I preside over criminal and civil cases. At the end of the day, come up with sound and reasonable judgment that is based on facts, evidence, and relevant law. So this is possible by virtue of the creation or the availability of the environment and the tool to use at least to make me excel. The same thing also should be applied to persons with disabilities. Like, for example, if you look at hard of hearing, like those with hard of hearing, as we understand, one of the challenges or barriers they'll be facing in offices would be lack of what? Sign language interpretation.
Yeah.
Because obviously we see that they do not have visual impairment. They'll be able to read writings from the computer screen. They'll be able to read from the files or from the books. But now how about communication with other officials? And how about communications with other outsiders who may come and show interest, at least in order to attend to them? So they will not be able to communicate. Because like the officials at that particular institution, or those as outsiders, do not actually know or understand and cannot communicate in sign language interpretation form. So you can see that by the right, if a person with hard of hearing should be employed in a particular institution, so he or she should be attached with a sign language interpreter, so that he or she at least would be, you know, alive, at least to communicate, to understand. But this is one of the barriers as to why those with hard of hearing in that category cannot actually be employed. You go to my own category, those with visual impairment, right? We need to have the introduction of Braille reading and writing, you understand? Documents that are in ink print format should be available in Braille. At least a special computer which is speech synthesizer that I use, even as I say, better than sighted persons, would also be introduced to enable the blind at least, you know, excel at institutions whatsoever. Those with physical impairment also, the wheelchair users, you know, will not be able to access certain buildings where there are opportunities may be available. But the public building, private building are not also accessible to persons with disabilities.
So moving on, you talked about the fact that it is important to have sign language interpreters for individuals working in offices or might have interest in other areas. So, Lamin, I know this is something that we've discussed before, but it's important to bring it back. You know, why the need to actually make sure that generally people know a little bit of sign language? You know, you don't need to be a sign language interpreter to actually know sign language. So why the need to actually incorporate this in the education sector, whereby at least there's a little bit of compulsory, you know, or force, or what to call it, there put in place to make sure that at least when you're going to school at an early age, you'll be able to know a little bit, maybe how to say hi, to say hello, or to say, may I help you, something like that.
Very good question. This is why the Deaf Association, under the project that we're working on, the Association of Sign Language Interpreters of the UK, they came up with a project that, to support us here in the country. So now currently the program is ongoing. It started long since and it's still ongoing. That on every Saturday we have sign language classes at GADO, the Deaf Association. So those interested can come and register and learn the sign language. For now it is for free.
Great.
So now we have about 11 of them.
Currently
learning. They're from different institutions. We have some lawyers, we have some teachers, some lecturers currently undergoing the sign language class. So last week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we were having a workshop at the Education Directorate, Region 1. So this was some of the things that we've discussed there, and some of the recommendations, because it was the first time that the Special Needs Education Unit invited DPOs on the Krubali, DPOs to go there to discuss about some of those, to discuss the way forward and how to help persons with disabilities.
Whereby sign language interpretation will be incorporated.
Some of the recommendations were sign language, that is GSL, sign language will be introduced in school, in the school curriculum, so that at the early stage, so people will know, people will learn basic signs before grade 6, before primary 6. And we've about 6 years ago, we were working with NACA, the curriculum authority institution. We drafted the curriculum and standard on sign language. It is now on draft form. It is not yet validated yet, but it's in draft form. It's with them. So now what NACA wants is, once it is validated, it will be introduced in all tertiary institutions. That is, if you don't have a basic skill on sign language, you won't be you won't be certified. So, for example, Gambia College will have a special unit there. The GTTI, they will have a special unit there. University of the Gambia, all these tertiary institutions. So anyone who did not have, who fall below the threshold, will be giving certificate. I think this will also help. We will encourage more people to learn sign language. But currently, the program that is ongoing at the office is every Saturday. The office is situated at Canifing Layout, just after Gamco Trap.
Every Saturday.
Gamco Trap before GRA Canifing branch.
Don't you think people have this misconception, sign language is only for the disabled?
Before, yes, but now many people are even calling personally myself, asking me, I want to learn sign language.
Yeah.
You know, but what I tell them is deaf people, because the World Federation of the Deaf, including the Deaf Association of the Gambia, had a policy saying hearing people should not teach sign language, because sign language is owned by deaf people, and they're the custodian of sign language. So it's also giving them more chance to have opportunity to be employed, and also because if we give chance to hearing people, I can teach sign language. Many people come to me and say, I want to be coming to your home in the evenings or on Sundays for you to just teach me on based on basic sign. Yeah, I can you know, I can train people on sign language because I have all the materials with me. I have all the linguistic documents with me.
Yeah.
So what I can do is I can work with the teachers with the sign, because currently I'm working with the sign language, the GSL teachers, you know, at Deaf Association, guiding them, working with them, you know, but I don't teach sign language.
Great.
But now many people know that sign language is important.
It's important.
Some family members are so eager to learn sign language. Some people who have not even, you know, come in contact with everybody, just want to learn sign language, just in case they want to.
Okay, Mr. Sonko, I think due to time constraints, we just have to move on. We have a few minutes to wrap up. You're starting with QTV today on our 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. news respectively to do sign language interpretations. How do you feel?
I feel so excited. I personally created a lot of videos on sign language. I shared them into different WhatsApp groups to inform deaf people, and then deaf people can't wait to see this program for the first time. And most of the time, this morning when I got to office, what they told me is, they said, today, you know, at 7:50, we will tune in QTV.
Oh, that is amazing.
So they're very
great.
excited. And I personally, it's something that I've been advocating for on Facebook, WhatsApp, you know, the inclusion of sign language interpreters on TV and everything. So I personally am very happy.
Yes, and I saw that you've been doing some sort of newspaper review
every
single time on Facebook, using the
Facebook,
newspapers and interpreting them. So thank you so much for what you do.
Because deaf people, one of the, I don't know whether you've heard this thing, many people used to say deaf people are liars. You know why? They're actually not liars, because they don't have information.
That is why.
So the little information that they have, they want to make sure each and every deaf person has the information.
Yeah. And when you pass it on, things change.
Yes, things change.
Yes.
So, but if they have the first-hand information,
yes,
you know, that will be reduced.
Yes, all right. Due to time
happy.
constraints, we would have to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Mr. Sonko, and thank you so much, Mr. Kurbali, for the work that you do. We'll keep following the progress right there at the Gambia Federation of the Disabled. Thank you so much for joining us. So viewers, we will take a short commercial break. When we come back, up next we have the entertainment update. Do stay tuned.
One nation, 8 tribes. We are the smiling coast of Africa. Gap-toothed, wide smile, rich melanin skin, radiant with the colors of a rich tapestry of cultures, telling one story of unity and beauty. Wrapped in the soft folds of a mother's sir, a Khalifa's grambuba, we embody the past of our ancestors and the promise of our descendants. Follow the records of our history, this story that tells of a people watered by the river in the gleaming sun of a coastal nation. Listen to the folk tales, those old tales we grew up on. Lebon, Lupain, Amon Nafi, Danam. Hear the music of an entire nation in the language of its heart and mother tongue. Our tongues are heavy with the song of our people. Rich and thick it rolls off like domoda, soft like yasa, bena chinla, nyokomom. Feel the beat of our pounding feet as we dance to the sounds of a throbbing drum, ageless in its rhythm. The griot's kora that speaks the wisdom of the ages. The sweet sound of a mother's lullaby bringing even sweeter sleep. We clap a melody with young and old hands, a symphony full of the pleasures of life, the joys of work and home. We are Gambian. Bi suñu cosaan la, suñu dëkk, suñu bos.
Want more in your bundle? At QCell, the biggest, fastest, and most reliable mobile operator, we've got you covered with Sunyu Bundle. With Sunyu Bundle, dial *303# and get the bundle of your choice. Sunyu Bundle, affordable, fast, and reliable. QCell, we innovate, others follow.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Step into the future of television with sleek and slim design Samsung Smart TVs, ranging in size from 32 to 75 inches, and in different technology. Smart LED, Crystal UHD, Ultra High Definition, and QLED Quantum Dot LED. Get new ways of interacting with your TV as our TVs offer an unparalleled vision adventure from the comfort of your living room. Ultra viewing angle, powerful picture quality, web browser, gallery, EarthNet LAN, wireless LAN built-in, Bluetooth, screen mirroring technology, mobile on TV mirroring, built-in voice assistance, Wi-Fi direct. Not only that, our TVs are backed with 12 months warranty and we are currently on a promotion. Contact us on 333-3217.
The best product in town is back. QCell's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800 and connect up to 15 users with 4G internet speeds and a long-lasting battery life. So rush now to any of our customer care locations and get the best for less while stocks last. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Bus, the Gambia's quality network. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back, viewers, from that short commercial break. Like I mentioned, we are going to head right on to the entertainment segment, and we are joined by our co-host, Skeng Man Sweezy.
Skeng Man Sweezy in the building as usual. I had a wonderful weekend today, to be honest, man. It was fun. It was fun. A lot going on.
Who is this guy with the golden chain?
We have China in the building.
It's a silver chain.
We have China in the studio today. Exactly, man.
It's shiny.
It's shining, you know.
What is it, Dodo or Dada? I don't know. Which one is it?
He's here to answer your questions.
Okay. All right.
We have a long way to go. Actually, China released an album this weekend. The album is dope, man, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. Give credit to people that deserve it. He's among the first Gambian artists, actually, to have 16-track album from the hip-hop scene, actually. So China is here to talk about his album. But before that, China, introduce yourself to the fans out there, man. Who is China?
This is Chana. Good morning, people out there. It's your boy Chana Dodo. You already know what's up.
So, Chana, what do you do apart from music?
Well, business.
What kind of business?
Personal.
No, we go into the topic strictly, man. You just dropped an album, 16-track album. Tell us a bit about the album, man. Because I saw day before yesterday you were chart #1 on Apple Store.
Yeah, still number one.
Which is really still number one.
Still number one, yeah.
So which is really a great move for us, man. So tell us a bit about
the album is a whole story. I don't think we can go deep, but then to cut everything short, I've been working on it for a year now, and then it's a package. We were trying, we were experimenting, and we're ready to give to the fans and the listeners out there, and that's the whole package right there.
So it's like most of the production was done by Alish.
And
then you had some features of 2 upcoming artists that are under you, which is Dauda and Moses.
From the Baller Gang. The Baller Gang is like the team I created for for like managing and grooming like little or young artists who are trying to get to the spotlight. So yeah, I gave them an opportunity or chance to be on the album too. And
Yeah, so you had a big feature as well with Jizzle.
Yeah.
My favorite song, man.
Tomorrow.
Man. To be honest, man, it's one of my favorite songs from the album.
Shit.
I keep playing it every time.
It's the #1 song.
It's the #1 song. So what I want to know is how many days or how many months did it take you to work on the album as well?
Okay, it took me like a year, but then it wasn't like we were recording every month or anything. I recorded some last year, and then during the Ramadan, it's like I recorded the last 10 tracks.
Okay.
It's like I took a break to experiment, research, and learn more, and then I continued. But the songs are, some are a year old, and some are just 3 or 4 months old.
So what is Bola Gang working on next? What's the next move for Bola Gang?
Notifications on.
Notifications. So talk to us about being educated as well and doing music. Because people have this concept in Gambia, because we don't have an industry, that when you're doing music, you are a failure.
Exactly.
And listening to your English is very good. And I know you've been to school. So talk to us about the need to be educated and do music at the same time.
It's actually very important. We went to the same school.
We went to the same school.
Yeah,
that's why I know.
We've been through platforms. So I'm actually excited to be on the same platform with you on here, because we used to be on drama platforms, quiz platforms, and now we're here.
Used to be one of the best.
You were doing drama as well
that's
during
right,
school
too.
days?
Everything.
What changed then?
Everything.
What has the shift?
Well, I'm here. I'm an actor.
Yeah.
It's all acting. I'm an artist, so it's the same thing. But being educated and being an artist at the same time, it's like it raises the bar higher. Understand? Like there's no going back. There's no barriers. Come when you're educated, you're more aware, you're more diverse. You can go places, you can understand more than an uneducated like rapper. Yeah. Like you could dialect, you could communicate. You understand? So
and
that's
one thing that really amazed me. Some of the songs in the album, they really matured.
Okay.
Like you have matured lyrics in it,
All right.
and you have good English into it.
Okay.
So to me it's really good as an artist going to school. You know, getting the idea of what you want to do, and then put your work into it.
But that's what education does.
Yes.
I mean, when you are educated, you give the message. I mean,
Exactly.
Important message.
Yeah.
Most of the young people are singing here in this country, but when you listen to the lyrics, I mean, at the end of the
makes no
time,
sense.
you know they are not mature.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So education mature.
Yeah.
I like him for the fact that he does a lot of combination with my artists. That's Hussein.
So secondly as well, are there any visuals that will be coming out soon from the album?
Sure. One is out already, and that's Hallelujah.
Yeah.
And then there's more to come.
And then secondly from that as well, we had Hussein, and you have Hussein on the album as well.
Chapati.
Oh boy. Bad thing, man, trust me.
Chapati.
You know the last time you asked if they were paired?
Yeah, I thought you guys were a group.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Yeah.
We were just a duo. We were doing songs together, doing shows together, and
And
all.
that's going to continue, right?
Sure.
I like
All right.
that.
I like that.
Angolo. I like that.
Bye, you dara nak balanga.
Yes, do that.
No, he's
Go stream the album. That's not what I hear. Go stream the album.
No, we're going to stream it.
Yeah.
Don't you must have
we
to
need something.
My bad.
Give us the way, do it.
Okay, thank you so much, Buba Fati. You can wrap up quickly.
Before I go,
We have a minute.
Okay, before I go, Dave Santang, a British rapper, just dropped his album over the weekend as well.
Yeah.
We are all in this together. You can go check it out. It's a sick album. It's a dope one. You have Stormzy, you have Gets, you have you have Geeks and others in the album. You have Wizkid and others. And then thank you for coming, Chanda.
Thank you too. Thanks.
It was an interesting interview
Yeah.
as well.
Thank you for coming. Congratulations.
If you want to be vaccinated, go to QCG tomorrow.
Yeah.
Get your shot, and then be safe from coronavirus.
It is important.
We're tired of it, so I need to go. Let's
right.
all go get vaccinated.
We should get
From my end, I'm
vaccinated.
Skengman
Thank
Susie.
you so much, Buba Fati,
Thank
for
you.
that. That was the entertainment update. That is all we have for you in this edition. Just to reiterate on what Buba Fati said, people have to go and get vaccinated.
Very
it's
important.
a mass vaccination. It's all over the country. Go get vaccinated so we're able to fight this. And also, don't forget that you can sponsor this particular program. We can display your products right here. Call our marketing team, get to negotiate with them. It's not expensive, and get to join this particular program. We're trending, you guys. Everybody's talking about this morning. So why not come and join our team? Q-City will be doing a mass vaccination as well tomorrow. So make sure just to go to Q-City. If you can't go to Q-City, go to the nearest health facility. And don't leave your families behind. Make sure when you go, your families are as well vaccinated. Because if you are vaccinated
Exactly.
and your families are not vaccinated,
yes,
it's
exactly.
the problem. And
Still
it's
there's a problem.
above 15 years of age. According to the WHO research, it's above 15 years of age. Little children are not supposed to be vaccinated so far. So thank you. The entire QTV and the entire Q Group staff are also being urged to go to Q City tomorrow to get vaccinated. We are taking the lead. Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Thank you.